Hi, everybody. My name is David, and this is the Cartoon Fortress YouTube channel. I want to thank you for joining me on the channel today. We are here with a very special guest for what I believe is my third episode of the Criterion Recommendations series. Don't quote me on that. This might be the fourth, but I think it's the third. Anyways, I've got a really special guest with me today. I've known this individual for 37 years, my whole life. This is my mom, Deborah. Thank you so much for joining me on the video today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, this is a real treat for me to have my mom on this video because so your exposure. Let's just give a little brief thought or two here. So your exposure to the Criterion collection, has that come by way of, so my brother's name is Sam. Him and I are both Criterion collectors. Has that really been your exposure, or have you had exposure anywhere else?
No, it has come solely from the two of you.
Sharing.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we're a movie family, that's for sure. So growing up, really you're to blame for the roots of my love for movies back on the recording straight to VHS.
Yes.
That's my first memories of movies, and watching the Goonies and Star Wars, and we had a lot of stuff taped to VHS. Which I don't know. I might have viewers who don't know what VHS is, for all I know.
That could be.
Yeah.
My love of movies started when I was young, and on the television was Saturday matinees.
Oh.
All through Saturday, and so that's where I saw a lot of the movies, because I didn't really go to the theater that much. It was more the drive-in with my parents.
Oh, which is cool. The drive-in experience obviously is. Well, the funny thing is, actually, with the pandemic and everything, drive-in theaters have made somewhat of a comeback.
Yes,
there's been, you hear a lot more now, it seems like, of drive-in theaters, which if that comes back as a normal thing, I'd be all for that. I've got great memories of the drive-in as well.
Yes.
But we could talk for hours about about this stuff. But the scope of this video, for those that are watching this, so we're at the tail end right now of a month-long sale on the Criterion website. They've been hosting a 30% off sale that they're having go through the end of May. So I assume it'll just end on the 31st. But they're hosting a 30% off sale. Obviously not as good as, say, the 50% off sale that we get at Barnes & Noble semi-annually. But if there's titles that you're really excited about, the kind of the standard edition Blu-rays, they're going for about $28 on the site right now. Or you can hold off until the sale. But I always like to support these boutique labels directly as much as I possibly can. So buying items, direct from the labels is definitely a way to show your confidence, or kind of vote, with your dollars to help support these labels. So if you can, if you're able, I would say go to the site and look at some titles. But what we're going to do here is we're going to each talk about 3 titles, recommendations that we would make for titles that are available through Criterion. And none of the titles that we're going to go over are out of print or anything crazy like that. So you can pick any of these titles up now if these are titles that interest you. So that being said, Mom, do you want to start us off with your first title?
Sure. Okay, the first one is The Umbrellas of Sherberg. Yes. And yes, and this is a film by Jacques Demy and Catherine Deneuve. How do I say her name?
Yeah, Catherine Deneuve.
Yes, is in this. Does that look okay in there? Yeah. Yes, this was a beautiful movie. I watched it with Samuel, and the whole feeling of the movie throughout is that it was like a ballet and a musical, because the whole thing is sung. So
Right. Yeah. So this is a blind spot for me. I haven't seen any of the work of Jacques Demy, and so of course he was married to Agnes Varda, who had a really prolific film career as well. And they actually have an offering of, there's a Jacques Demy box set, and now there's an Agnes Varda box set. So it's kind of cool that they kind of have their life's work available. But Jacques Demy is a blind spot for me, and so I haven't seen Umbrellas of Sherberg, but I've heard nothing but wonderful things about that title.
yes, it was a wonderful experience watching this, and yes, they did a great job with, of course, dance, music, the colors, and it shifts, throughout the movie, of course.
Yeah.
Go with how it's playing out. I don't want to say too much.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know it's always funny trying not to give away spoilers. So that's from 1964.
Yes.
Now, what is the spine number on that release?
It is 716. So 716.
Oh, 716. So that was okay. So that's maybe a little bit later than I thought it might have been released. Of course, we're almost to spine number 1100 now.
Wow.
So that's a little ways back, I guess. But what kind of on the back? What kind of supplements are included? Is there a decent list on there?
Yes. 2K digital restoration. It talks about. Then Once Upon a Time, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, a 2008 documentary.
Oh, cool.
An interview with film scholar Rodney Hill. French television interview from 1964. Audio recordings and interviews with the actor, with Catherine. And restoration demonstration, a trailer, plus an essay by Jim Ridley.
And of course, that essay is going to come in the booklet that's included on the inside. That's a really good list. I always like it when they include documentaries. Yeah, it's very 1960s feeling, even with the design. I like that.
Yes, it's great. And then here's the booklet. Yes.
Very cool. Well, great recommendation. I know there's a lot of people out there that would agree with you on recommending this one, and that's definitely one I'll need to get to soon.
Yes, it's very
So my picks, I tried to be a little bit eclectic with my picks here. So I've actually got 2 international picks. In fact, I'll be hitting the Asian continent twice with my picks, and then I've got a 1 pick from the States. Now, this first film, I'll show you here. This is directed by John Barry. This is spine number 1052. So this is a newer release. This is Claudine. So this is from 1974, so exactly a decade after The Umbrellas of Sherberg. And this is starring James Earl Jones and Diane Carroll. So this is an early performance from James Earl Jones. And I really love the artwork on this cover. It's very painterly, very 1970s feeling. They really capture that feel even in the cover art here. And yeah, so this is directed by John Barry, which admittedly, I even went and looked at his filmography on IMDb, and there was absolutely nothing, past Claudine, which I've obviously seen. So in terms of his film career, there's not really, at least from what I've seen, nothing of note that I just immediately recognized or was gravitated towards. But this film is an absolute gem from the 1970s. I loved this film. So this is, again, James Earl Jones and Diane Carroll, and it really captures the feeling of 1970s New York. So this is filmed in Harlem, and the premise is pretty simple. It's Diane Carroll plays a single mother. She's got about a bajillion kids. I can't remember how many kids total, but small cramped apartment, single mom, really just trying to make it. So she's kind of got these odd jobs. She cleans houses, which I think is her main source of employment. She goes and cleans homes, and it's in kind of more affluent, white kind of neighborhoods, like where she earns her money. And James Earl Jones is actually the garbage man. So he'll be, passing by the home and get the garbage, and, kind of look her up and down, kind of flirt a little bit. And so they end up going out on a date, and, they develop a relationship. And so obviously she has the feeling that, maybe I have a lot of baggage, with the kids and, small apartment. And she's really, maybe doesn't know, if he's going to dig that or not. But without giving too much away, that's kind of the general premise. And the performances from these two are, it's so wonderful. I love the interplay between the characters and with the kids as well. There's a lot of laugh out loud moments. So she's got a, because they're on welfare, they're in the welfare system. And so they have the social worker, or whatever you want to call them, come by to check out the house or the apartment and kind of see what's going on. And they, there's some moments and scenes where they know the social worker's coming, and so they have to clean everything up, and just really some funny antics between her and her kids, and then James Earl Jones when he's thrown into the mix. But it's got just a ton of heart. That's really what I came away from. And the soundtrack is wonderful. I had no idea about this film until Criterion released it, which is one of the reasons I love Criterion. There's blind spots that I didn't know that I had. And so, with films like this is now one that I'm going to have on my shelf forever and most definitely come back to. So this has a runtime of 92 minutes. Again, this is 1974. And we do get actually a new 4K digital restoration on this film. It looks great. Grain structure seemed to all be intact. Really nice presentation overall. And then we get an audio commentary from 2003 featuring actually Diane Carroll, James Earl Jones, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, filmmaker George Tillman Jr., and Dan Pine, the son of screenwriters Lester Pine and Tina Pine, who wrote the film. So that's kind of cool. A new conversation between filmmaker Robert Townsend and programmer Ashley Clark. Illustrated audio excerpts from a 1974 AFI Harold Lloyd master seminar featuring Carroll. New interview with film critic Imogen Sarah Smith, who's always wonderful. She's kind of a mainstay in boutique label releases, and director John Barry. And then, we get an essay by critic Danielle A. Jackson. So, great artwork on the cover. And then that even continues through in here with the artwork. I just love how painterly it is. It's such a cool style. And then I'll show you just so there's the two of them. But just a really great package. And then this is just more of the, and then there's an image of them on the back. Not to give away any spoilers. But yeah, just a really, really neat little package here from Criterion on a film I'm really happy to know, Claudine from 1974. All right,
That's
so
one.
what
That's
is
one.
your
Yeah, that's one I get
oh
to watch. I have
yeah
not seen
oh
most of it.
you would totally enjoy. I would highly suggest putting it on your list to pick up sometime.
Okay, the next one is the Philadelphia Story.
Nice.
Love this movie, and so I'm new at the directors, and I'm not sure how to say his last name.
Yeah, George Cukor.
Thank you. And of course, this is Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and James Stewart, and it's just so funny the whole way through. Their timing with the three of them, when they're acting, just adds to the humor. Of course, they're great at this, and so of course it is Katharine Hepburn who's getting married. There's the groom. Cary Grant is her ex-husband, and Jimmy Stewart is someone who is supposed to come and do photos for the newspaper. And well, it's fun.
It's a great screwball comedy. I mean, how do you possibly have a better trio than those three?
Exactly. Yes, it's just impeccable. Their timing, like I said, it's great. Okay, the spine number on this one is 901.
Cool.
And let's look inside here. Oh yeah, this so it comes, of course, like this, but then it's one of those that I like when they do this. It has, excuse me, that took a moment. Whoops.
Oh yeah, nice wide shot. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Okay, this one includes 4K digital restoration, audio commentary, In Search of Tracy Lord, a new documentary about the origin of the character, a new piece about Katharine Hepburn's role in development of the film, two full episodes of the Dick Cavett Show from 1973.
And those are always the Dick Cavett Show entries are another mainstay within Criterion. They're usually really, really intriguing watches.
Yes, good. Featuring rare interviews with Hepburn, plus an excerpt of a 1978 interview from that show with director George
Cukor.
Lux Radio Theater adaptation of the film from 1943. And a restoration demonstration and an essay.
Awesome. Yes. And those that are maybe new to George Cukor or don't know, so some of his most notable works would be like My Fair Lady, obviously Philadelphia Story, and then you've got Gaslight with Ingrid Bergman, Charles Boyer, and then Charles Boyer and Joseph Cotton. So he's got definitely some big films under his belt, but Philadelphia Story might be my favorite George Cukor film. It's hard to beat. I mean, especially in terms of comedies. It's really that could be the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, and this photo is great.
Yeah. I forgot that they had the radio adaptation. That seems to be something I'm coming across a lot more. Are the radio adaptations?
That was part of this.
Yeah, so, they're an interesting supplement to have, and I've got the same release. I've got that one on my shelf, so I'll need to listen to the radio adaptation on that one as well. But great pick. And that one is from 1940, Philadelphia Story. Okay, so I'm going to cheat a little bit here because my next entry here is actually two films, but it's one. Actually, the last two. Well, yeah, I'm kind of cheating a little bit here. So the next one, this is a double feature that was put out. I want to say this one came out in 2018. The spine number is 971 and 972. So this was, I want to say it was 2018 when this came out. And these are from 1985 and 1988, respectively. This is Jackie Chan's Police Story and Police Story 2. I'm a huge Jackie Chan fan. And in fact, I'm starting to get more Jackie Chan titles in my collection. For those of you that watch the channel, you'll know very recent. In fact, I think it was maybe in my last couple of videos, we did an unboxing of The Young Master from '88 Films. So they're a great label out of the UK that has heavy appreciation for Asian film, and so I'm looking forward to collecting a lot more Jackie Chan titles. That seems to be really the place to get his films. But Criterion obviously got rights to Police Story and Police Story 2. And these are actually directed by Jackie Chan. And he, of course, does his own stunt work. He has this team, kind of his team that he works with. And they're kind of this amazing family of, just amazing, stunt choreographers. And I mean, it never, ever gets old watching Jackie Chan on screen. His antics and his, I mean, just the stunts that he does are so creative, and he uses, resources always right around him. If there's a chair, if there's a, whatever's in his, direct area, it's always incorporated into the stunt work that he does, which is fun. Now in the first, I will make mention of this actually, because the first film has, an executive director credit as well. So Jackie Chan directed the film, but Chi Hua Chen has an executive director credit on the first film as well. So I don't know exactly what that means. If it's like a second unit director, I don't know. But in the second film, he's the standalone credit for the director. And basically, this is, so he plays a cop, an officer. And it's basically he brings in a drug lord, and then Jackie's character ends up being framed for the murder of another police officer. And so that's the really kind of like high level, basic premise of what we've got going on here in these movies. And then what ensues is just really, really fun action. And I love these movies too, because they're so, and it's part of the charm. They're so overacted, if you will. It's, it kind of becomes a caricature in a way, just the way that it's overacted, funny, really high pace, or, fast paced. And just the set pieces that are used, again, it's just an absolute blast. And fans of Jackie Chan, like, exactly what you're kind of getting into with a Jackie Chan film. And so if that's your thing, if you haven't seen these two, I mean, this is an easy sell. And I really like the artwork here on the cover.
That's nice. Yeah.
And then you have the listing here, and this is kind of an interesting package. So this actually comes out both ways. So this is just kind of a slip here on the front, and they did a really great job. So there you have Police Story 2, and then you have this fold out with both of the films. So really, I love even the font on there is really kind of loud and in your face. I like it. I do wish, if I'm being totally honest, that they would have given us a bit more of an extensive booklet or, kind of writings, um, on the films. But I guess that's a minor gripe. Now hopefully I can get this back on here. There we go. Sometimes I can't get those back on very quickly. So we do get new 4K digital restorations on both films, actually, with uncompressed binaural soundtracks. And then there's just a slew. I'm not going to go through everything on here. But if you can see on there, possibly, there's just a laundry list here of extra features. So a lot of fun. I mean, again, this is an easy recommendation, obviously, for Jackie Chan fans, but even for casual fans of 80s movies or just fun movies in general, this is an easy recommendation to make. And this is done through the Golden Harvest, which is the main production company that Jackie Chan produced films through. I know he was with at least one other production company before that, but Golden Harvest is really kind of the main company that he produced films through. And yeah, just a ton of fun. Really glad to see that Criterion was able to secure the rights on this, and two films in one. And this during the sale, I want to say this one, like with the Barnes Noble sale, I believe this comes in at $25, which is it's ridiculous. It's so worth $25. And then again, 30% off right now on Criterion's site. So Police Story 1 and 2.
That's another one I get to check out. I am a Jackie Chan fan.
So. They're so much fun. Maybe we'll have to watch these together sometime.
Yes, that would be great.
And for those wondering, maybe my mom and I live in different states. Otherwise, we would be filming this together.
Yes, that's true. Okay, my last one is It Happened One Night. There. Another, well, it's a comedy, but I guess it's like one of the first rom-coms, right?
It's, I don't know if there's an official answer on this. To me, I mean, yeah, it's really the first rom-com, really kind of proper
yes.
rom-com, and boy, does it earn its keep. It's amazing.
It is. And so this is from 1934, and the spine number is 736. And of course, it's Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so she is, I'll just read this small thing on the back, okay?
Yeah.
As opposites attract with magnetic force in this romantic road trip delight from Frank Capra, about a spoiled runaway socialite and a roguish man of the people reporter who is determined to get the scoop of her scandalous disappearance. So she is to be marrying someone she doesn't want to marry, and it is great. Their interaction and comedic timing again is really good.
Yeah, it really is. I couldn't agree more. I have really, really good memories with this film. The first time I saw this, I don't know if you remember. So I took a film history class in high school, and that's where I saw this film for the first time. We were really spoiled in that class with the titles that Mr. Brower was his name. Probably my favorite, most impactful teacher ever. I mean, he could have been, just with the films I was exposed to in that class, and he showed us It Happened One Night, and I was just, I was already into classic film at that point, but I could not believe how funny, to piggyback off what you were saying, the comedic timing, and even
Yes.
as a high school student, I was just, I realized I'm watching one of the greatest films ever made,
Yes.
you know.
And I am not really clear on what I want to say about. I believe they filmed. I believe they filmed this in a very, very short time. They
Oh,
did have a big set. In fact, the building that they use, they would just redress
mm,
because it was a very short amount of time that they had to do this,
oh,
and
interesting.
Colbert was a little anxious that it wasn't going to be up to par and be okay, for um, what she would want it to be. But it was great. Um, okay, and I'll just do the same instead of. I don't know if you can
Yeah,
see
these
that.
usually have quite a bit of extra features.
Oh, there is. And then on the inside, it does also come with a booklet. And I know it's cool how, yeah, this is even down to decorating this like it's nighttime and there's stars on it.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit difficult to get off. And then, yeah, a great photo of them.
Yeah, and I was actually going to say and this isn't giving anything away, but my favorite my favorite scene probably in the whole film is the hitchhiking scene. And
Yes.
there's just this really specific interplay in that scene that just has me laughing out loud every single time I watch it. And I
Yes.
and I watched this film with my wife as well, and and she absolutely loved it. I mean, it's one that we'll definitely come back to. I try and share as many Criterion films with her as I can. I know where her sweet spot is comedy. Um, so we've watched. In fact, she owns her own copy of Philadelphia Story.
Oh,
Um, and then we've watched it happen one night. But I know I can always get her on board uh, for comedies, and we just loved it. But yeah, the hitchhiking scene is my favorite.
I think it's kind of a pivotal moment in the movie in the sense that he's so shocked because he can't get anybody to stop. And then what she does to get someone to stop is like totally out of character. But yeah, maybe not because she was the spoiled woman, young woman, and now she's starting to enjoy life a little differently.
Yeah, it's just wonderful, and there's even some interplay with some of the other characters that's really funny. Like on the bus that they're traveling on, it's like there's no wasted space in in the runtime of the film. I mean, wherever they're at, whatever characters are around, it's like completely utilized, and I think that um, well, a lot of that credit, of course, goes to Frank Capra, who
Hmm.
um, is just a masterful director. Of course, you think Frank Capra and you immediately think It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes.
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and so obviously he worked, with Jimmy Stewart quite a bit, and then It Happened One Night, or maybe, well, I mean, definitely three of his best films. I don't know what you'd call, his best of the best, but
Hmm.
um, what an amazing comedy. So that's an easy recommendation for me to make as well. So It Happened One Night. Awesome. So that rounds out your three
Yes.
picks. So, and this is where I say again, I'm kind of cheating a little bit, but I'm gonna um, I'll keep it to one film. Whoops, sorry about that. One film here. Um, yeah, so I've gone with the U.S., uh, Hong Kong with the Jackie Chan films, and now we're going to stay on the Asian continent, but we're going to go over to Iran. And this is he's becoming one of my favorite filmmakers in the Criterion collection, and his name is Abbas Kiristami. He has a few. I know I don't have all of his films that are released through Criterion, but I have several, and each of them are just absolutely wonderful. But this comes from the Coker trilogy box set. So obviously this is 3 films, but I'm just going to talk about the first film, which is from 1987, and it's called "Where Is the Friend's House?" Now, for those maybe that aren't familiar with Kiristami's work, so a few of his films that I own, at least, are Close Up, Taste of Cherry, and 24 Frames. He's got others in the collection. I believe he directed Certified Copy, and I want to say maybe there's at least one other one, but I can't think off the top of my head. So with Kiristami, it's interesting because he was born and lived in Iran, and he actually didn't become a filmmaker until the age of 30, I believe, is when he started producing work. And he actually first worked as a graphic designer, which is, I guess, it's another visual medium, but he worked as a graphic designer, and then he joined the Center for Intellectual Development of Children and Young Adults and started a kind of a film section or a film course. And I guess the rest is history. He's an absolutely amazing filmmaker. And Where Is the Friend's House? So this stars Babek Ahmed Pour, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering any of these names, but Babek Ahmed Pour plays the young boy, our main protagonist in the film. And the thing about this film is the plot is deceptively simple. And it's one of the things I love about Kiristami and his work, particularly in this film, is that he takes the simplest idea and he puts this kind of magnifying glass up to humanity and looks at, in this case, such a giving part of human nature. And so with this, it's basically just what we here in the States, I don't know what it's called there, but like elementary school age kids, and this main kid, one of his classmates gets chided in class by the teacher for not having his homework, and he's basically on the brink of expulsion. And he says, if you don't have your homework here tomorrow, you're expelled, is basically what's laid out. So his classmate, our main character in the film, well, the student that's in trouble, he leaves his homework notebook behind, or it gets, I can't remember if anyways, it comes into the possession of our main character in the film. And he realizes after he gets home and he pulls out his homework that he has his classmate's notebook. And he knows that if his friend, this other classmate, doesn't get his homework done, he's going to be expelled. And so what ensues is this little boy, and he lives in this, I guess what you'd call kind of like a village setting. The film then follows this little boy going door to door, different, one part of the village, all the way, and he's walking across, this landscape, trying to find this little boy's house so that he can give him his notebook back. And that's it. That's the film. And it's crazy because I was driven to the point of like ugly crying. It's
Get that.
crazy how
Oh,
I mean, just the how set this little boy is on making sure that his friend is okay, that this classmate is okay. And, not even, and it doesn't even insinuate that, or it doesn't even point out that they're even necessarily, the best of friends or anything like that. But he feels the responsibility upon his shoulders to make sure that this other little boy is okay. And excuse me. And I love, again, just the examination of, the interaction of humans, and, again, like, such a giving part of humanity, of wanting to watch out for one another, to make sure that, that someone else is okay. And, I think too many times, we see the ugly side of human nature, come out. And it's just something like this is so, again, deceptively simple, but yet it's just so profound, the way that Kiristami
yes.
dissects this whole situation. And we see,
Very touching.
it's amazing. I went into this, so I had seen one other Kiristami film going into this, and I was 100% not ready, I think, for what I watched. And yeah, just a really emotional, really emotional film. And anyways, yeah, so the spine number on this one is 990. And then this is a trilogy of films, and so you get Where is the Friend's House, and Life Goes On, and Through the Olive Trees. Now, what Criterion has done here is really interesting, because these trilogy of films, they're all interwoven together, and that comes through also literally in the packaging here. So if you open up the package here, so you have these three films that are all part of kind of the same picture that's framed here. So it's this representation of the fact that these films are interwoven into one another. And, so you open this up to the different films, and then here in the center, you get a booklet, and then you start with the first film, and then you go to all three there.
That's beautiful.
So in terms of packaging, it's one of my favorite, just the thought that went into packaging this set, I think, is really cool. And actually, let me go back to Where is the Friend's House. So in terms of supplements on this one, so this does feature a new 2K digital restoration, and then you have Homework from 1989, a feature-length documentary by director Abbas Kiarostami, newly restored. A conversation from 2015 between Kiristami and programmer Peter Scarlett. And then it also has a new English subtitle translation. And then the booklet in here is really nice as well. So it is a stapled booklet. It's not a leaflet, but there's some good writing in here. In fact, I still need to dive in on the booklet on this one. Anyway, so yeah, just a really great package here from Criterion. And if you're looking to get a box set, this is definitely one that I would highlight. I can't remember the price point on this one, especially if it's on sale. I mean, it's really worth. I think you would love Where is the Friend's House. Immediately, when I was watching this, I'm like,
I get that. I would, yes.
Mom would love this film. So I really think this is one worth adding to your list and your collection as well. But yeah, great trilogy here from Abbas Kiarostami. And that rounds out our picks. So I want to thank you, Mom, Deborah, for for being on this episode with me of Criterion recommendations. Those of you watching the video, let us know down in the comments what titles you would recommend. Maybe give us your 3 recommendations that you would make. I always love to know what people are watching. And if you like that type of thing as well, I am on Letterboxd at Cartoon Fortress. If you want to see what I'm watching, I log most everything that I watch is logged on there. I've had a bit of a lull on there as of late for a few different reasons, but I haven't been watching, unfortunately, as many films recently. But I'm getting back to it. I know I had explained this in a previous at a previous time, but we had a massive interior remodel project going on at our house here, and I haven't had access to my office and collection like I normally would. But yeah, so you can follow me at on Letterboxd. And yeah, if you like this type of content, though, film collecting, talking film, I invite you to hit the subscribe button, also the like button, and lastly, the bell icon. That will notify you when I upload new videos in the future. And do you have anything else you want to add before we end the video?
Thank you. It was delightful.
Thank you so much. And I'll have to find another reason for you to be on the channel at some point. But until next time, my name is David, and this is my mom, Deborah, and you guys have a wonderful day.